Okay, we have sound. That's good.
Thank you, Mukau. Really excited to be here for another thrilling match here in this mentor tournament. A lot of close matches, a lot of excellent play thus far. How are you doing tonight, Sean?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yes,
so it's casual boots week. This is we at least didn't run this last year. Is this first for the mentor tournament?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a first for the mentor tournament overall, but yeah, as you know, we did not have this. We had 3 weeks of open, 3 weeks of standard, and then it was kind of a mix and match when you got into the playoffs. But I like it as a way to get boots involved, a literal quick start, and that's what we're getting right here from these two players.
All right, and we have a Psyduck on one side and a Link on the other side. So, keeping mushrooms in there, in that chest.
Always fun to get a fetch quest right off the bat.
Yeah, those early series fetch quests are pretty good though, normally.
Yeah, typically, obviously, they're certainly going to pique your curiosity, but as you note, the rate of success off of those early fetch quests tends to be fairly high, and we saw both players use the ghost sword that's totally there to dash through the bushes.
And a
They got a
second
real
sword right away.
Yeah, so if you've been working on those escape dash lines, well, they're all the better now. Does one shot everybody with your Master Sword, unless you get unfortunate RNG, but who would ever get that?
And as with any Sword Assured mode, Aga tends to pop up more often because you have fewer things to find, but certainly once we find a lamp, that's certainly an option.
Yeah, for certain. We called a match last night in which the seed was absolutely screaming Aga, and it turned out to be the case. Getting that Master Sword immediately is definitely a thing that's probably already in the minds of both players and their experienced mentors.
Just going through the escape sequence here, not really much to comment on so far. Both runners seem to be almost step for step here. Yeah, that's a good question in chat. When do you turn the mushroom? I'm looking at almost right away. Oh no.
Yeah, that's a tough one there for BDI. Unfortunately, the Master Sword swipes do, I believe, the same damage on the ball and chain. Bedwablackburn was able to maintain his sword beams, keep the guard at bay. BDI almost pulled that one out even after getting that first hit, but having to go back in is going to cost a little bit of time.
Yeah, so Master Sword slashes do the same damage, but when I have Master Sword, usually I'm spinning that ball and chain guard because it's only 2 spins to get him down.
Yeah, absolutely. BDI was in a little bit of a tough spot. He got poked a couple times, like we see here with this guard RNG, and came in there with 2 hearts and just got himself in a tough little spot, which happens. Ball and chain is arguably the biggest peril in any of the standard open setups here. And we did see the small key in Zelda cell. Obviously we'll see. I did the first chest with the blue guard did not have the map, correct?
I don't believe so.
So I think that's still outstanding.
Okay, fight 2 went perfectly fine, and we're returning with the princess as we get to see what's in Dark Cross. A shield. Can I put it back?
Shield.
And looks like Bedwablackburn getting a little on-the-fly mentoring here, checking the getting reminded to check the rat prize pack.
Yeah, obviously it takes a little bit of additional time in your escape sequence, and you can get the back of escape with the boots, but being able to, again, check the prize pack if you can get a bomb drop, that's obviously helpful for the checks that are about to ensue afterwards.
Yeah, and there's always the bomb under the bomb box, but that requires spending 5 seconds going in and out of a house to get. So if you can leave this with bombs, then that's preferable. As we did find a map in the bombable wall portion, so we will have to open the sanctuary chest. And away we go.
Yeah, not terribly much out of that entire sequence. Master Sword, obviously got the mushroom in Link's house, but nothing that's really going to be pointing the players anywhere, but there's plenty of checks to go, and Bedwablackburn, with that immediate peace of mind, never forget Bonk Rocks.
I have forgotten Bonk Rocks exactly once, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, quick map check. Nothing but crystals in the light world. Look like a 5-6 out in the desert area, though.
So all crystals in the light world, that's definitely a good thing to see, because those are the shorter dungeons. You want those longer dungeons to be the pendant dungeons, so that you don't have to worry about it. Crabs are rich today.
Yeah, certainly nice early in the seed, and again, especially with the Kaz boot start, that opens up the avenue for sequence breaking the Zora area on occasion. Having an access way to get a good amount of rupees early in the seed is always something that can be a good peace of mind.
Okay, well, if we're fighting Aghanim, we're not doing it for Lumberjack Ledge. Yes, you can actually do that with any pull lever. You can charge a dash while you're pulling it. I use it most often in the dam, but you can do it in the back of Hyrule Castle as well.
So it looks like BDI eschewed at the moment the Lumberjack check. Bedwa was able to use those rocks outside the fortune teller above attack to get 1 bomb.
Alright, and getting those bombs outside of Kakariko, definitely some peace of mind. Going down into Cackwell without bombs is always a bit of a heart-pounding moment.
Yeah, absolutely. We have not seen terribly much here, though. A little bit of health pickup, some money, but again, the players still looking for direction, especially with these 3 crystal dungeons in the light world.
Yeah, sometimes Cac is just empty. Oh, and now, what is that, a blue Psyduck? It's a bit odd, but... Oh, is that the shiny Psyduck? I've never had one, so...
I'm not familiar with Pokemon enough to know if that's atypical.
So shiny Pokemon are just like repalettes of regular ones. It used to be that one out of 8,192 Pokemon was shiny. That's not really the case nowadays. Now it's like more like you can get it down to about 1 in 400.
Okay. It's a nice free 300 to find there in the library, and for Bedwa in particular, who was able to mine those crabs over Zora money. I think they're going to want that Bombos, though.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kaz Boots of just doing this check blind, because you have boots, you have a sword, this check is just so fast, and if it is actually something, then you're just gonna have to go and do it anyway.
Yeah. I know a lot of people also have the opinion that if Kakariko is effectively barren, to just wing it when it comes to race game, because there was really nothing there. So even with that death in the front of Escape, or down in the cell, BDI caught right back up with Bedwa, skipping out on that lumberjack check. Aside from the loss of a peace of mind, isn't going to hurt, because obviously we know that nothing of importance is there. And BDI setting up for the fake flipper to turn in the mushroom right away.
Looks like Bedwa has the same idea here. Getting a little... So, when I do that fake flipper, normally, since you have boots, you can just bonk yourself to the edge of that screen off the statue there. I don't think I saw the runner do that. They just...
Yeah, BDI
went
did.
to the pixel. Okay.
Yeah, BDI did. But Bedwa eyeballed it a little bit. And, well, alright.
Well, there's our flippers. We weren't going to South Shore before. We certainly are now. I was wondering if either of them will take the Whirlpool back instead of saving and quitting. I'm not sure that this actually saves time over saving and quitting.
Yeah, it definitely seems like at first both of them thought about using the glove routes. to get where they were hoping to go. But no glove as of yet.
BDI is setting up a hula hand here in the boots manner now that we have those flippers in hand. This is a pretty atypical hula hand. Useful for when you have flippers but no glove.
Yeah, you don't see this very often. But it's definitely awesome to see pulled out on this occasion. And obviously BDI, mentored by Orange, an extremely skilled and experienced player too.
Yeah, I remember during one of my races in the Mentor Tournament last year, I had homemade beer teach me that mid-race. Alright, let's see what the mini mold arms are hiding. A third sword and a glove. And a hammer. Alright.
One minor unfortunate thing for Bedwell right now is he doesn't have bombs. So Ice Rod Cave, not an option.
Yeah, unfortunately, you could just buy a bomb upgrade here, or you can just, say, oh, Ice Rod Cave is getting skipped.
I definitely feel like, at least if I was in Bedwell's shoes at this point, I would just be thinking it's nothing that we're checking unless we get down to it.
Right.
We found a ton of progression in Moldorf Cave. The mushroom led to flippers, and there's a significant potential for progression here too. The only downside is both players again started at the dam, so it kind of leaves stray checks on both sides of the map, especially on Bedwell's side. BDI is going to head to the Ice Rod area.
Yeah, and there is a 50-50 rock over there, but you have to run all the way to the screen to get there, and I don't know if one item is worth that amount of time investment. If you're gonna go do Ice Rod Cave, you might as well just go buy a bomb upgrade. You have the rupees for it. And a bottle there. We'll see if that makes a difference. And BDI setting up a very nice water walk that I learned of recently. It's you just jump off the slanted cliff and jump off the waterfall to get the water walk that way instead of running all the way around.
These early flippers didn't actually yield anything here though, which is interesting. Bedwell picks up those bombs that he needed, but yeah, I mean, I think definitely on Bedwell's side, the option, the primary one's got to be what he's going for here, which is, you think, is Saha and potentially diving into Eastern.
Yeah, Bedwell could have just bought bombs on the way to Saha here. Also doesn't really need bombs to get into the closet, so it's nice to have those three in hand. And we have a green pendant at Ice Palace, according to Sahashila. Oh, and now the Waterfall Fairy has some bee friends. That's very nice. Yeah, good idea by Blackburn there to arm the spin speed and try to get around that Armos Knight. Unfortunately, just doesn't really work every single time. You're still up to RNG whether he short hops or long hops enough to get by him there.
And the amount of checks here left for these two players, though, in Logic has dwindled pretty quickly. Couple things here in Eastern, Agina, and the sick kit check on BDI side from that bottle and Ice Rod Cave.
So BDI is opting to buy bombs here on the way to Saha. Yeah, the unfortunate situation would be if the progression is on Sick Kid. If it's on Agina, that's fine. Both racers have left him all alone over in the desert there.
Definitely nice for Bedwa here that there's our portal and our Dark World access. But it was definitely nice that the stealth hosts are dropping bombs here, so it did save him that little bit of time on buying those upgrades or stopping at the shop, and a nice rod too.
You know what they say, early Ice Rod means TR's a pendant, right?
There's 2 more Dark World pendants that we don't yet know about, so could very well be the case. TR's a crystal, the game likes to make you work for that Ice Rod, don't it?
Alright, so that will be... I believe we have an item on the boss.
Yeah.
But we won't be back there for a while. Meanwhile, Blackburn looks like he's got his eyes on Village of Outcasts and or Skull Woods here.
Yeah, without Mirror or Mitts making this call on whether to start at Hype Cave or start up in this area where Blackburn is right now is always kind of a tough one. Obviously some pros and cons to both. Thieves, if it is indeed a crystal, is clearable right now. Probably get an immediate map check, one would hope.
Yeah, starting in Village of Outcasts is perfectly fine. I usually opt for the density of Hype Cave, but I almost never find anything in that cave anymore. We're going into Thieves' Town blind. It is indeed a crystal.
I guess hopping in there without checking does make some sense anyway, because if it is a pendant, you would figure you'd be diving the front at the very least. I do tend to be a compulsive map checker though, so...
Yeah, the only thing I would want to know is it a red crystal? And no, the red crystal is in Skullwoods.
It looked like it was indeed Pendant, Turtle Rock, and Pod as well.
That map check was real fast as we get a lamp out of Thieves Town and a book out of Hype Cave and a bow out of Hype Cave. So let's see what BDI does with that information. And it's just gonna clean up these couple checks over here. I don't hate that. Going to pod would have been fine as well. These checks are just... It puts these checks in an awkward spot if you just go straight to pod.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with, again, Skull being a crystal, no fire rod at this point. Pathing could be awkward depending on how things come.
I guess it also depends on how good you are with Dark Pod, because BDI still needs that lamp out of Thieves Town to put a good bit of pod in logic, I'll say.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Looks like BDI is just gonna go to DOO here.
We will get the sick kit check. BDI has 2 bottles at this point.
Just another shield. Never a bad thing to have a fire shield, especially if you're going to be going into blind who likes to spit fireballs all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, they don't really have much in the way of safeties either. Do a blue mail, which does actually do yeoman's work in the fights in which that can get out of hand if you lose the blind screen.
So there is actually a house that sells red potions, but I believe they're 150 rupees, and BDI doesn't have that kind of cash at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're accurate. He does have a blue, though, I believe, from Hype Cave. Bottle.
Right.
Bedwablackburn has to be a little bit careful here. And that's an unfortunate death. Blind just got a little bit off script in the second phase. Narrowly missed a sword hit, and things just gone off just a bit, enough to make things problematic.
Yeah, now the fight gets a little bit harder. There's still a script for the refight, but it's a lot more awkward because you can't really, like, poking kind of puts you in a bad spot on the refight, and you kind of have to just slash and let it blow you back.
Really good job at the end there by Bedwablackburn, though. That's especially those last 5 or 6 hits. Blind got into positions that could have been really awkward. He took an extra pause on a couple of occasions, made sure he didn't get hit, and closed that out. So, good job there.
Ooh, and a nice god pixel there by BDI. Alright, checking the rest of the village here. I usually do this before going into Thieves Town, and you just never know when you're gonna find something that's gonna make it feel easier for thieves.
Yeah, I agree, especially, again, this is early in the season. This is the first crystal for both players. Again, it's great to have Tempered Sword, but this is a boss in which it doesn't actually matter which sword you have aside from its length. They all do the same amount of damage to Blind's Head.
Alright. Blackburn taking an about face here.
Taking
Looked like maybe wanted to go south, but got talked into going north. Which, of course, it's easy to say from the booth, yes, you should have gone south, because that sets up an amazing route, actually, to just send you right into pod, but... It's all about these little decisions that you can make during your seed. You can't go that way.
Yeah, Skull is such an awkward one to make those calls onto, especially without Fire Rod. Not even guaranteed to have any items in the front if you take the time to do this.
Yeah, but the one time that you don't do it, it's gonna have something important.
The one time, the 5 times, the 10 times. Really good fight on BDI's side. Blind got away a little bit in the final phase, but he was pretty much in control most of the way. And also joins Bedwa with 1 crystal on the board.
And it'll be a little easier decision for BDI. Just have a nice little loop around the north side there. Grab your catfish, grab your pyramid ledge, go into your fully clearable pod.
Yeah, BDI does still need a little bit more money to do pod at this moment at least.
Oh, good call. I didn't even look at that.
My guess is that he might be heading to desert right now. Clearable 5-6 crystal. I do wonder if, again, you did note the relative comfort level that one has with Dark Pod is a major concern. Also, the fact that it was and is a pendant can certainly dissuade players, and that's a fun second bow location.
Well, I've been told to always believe in pendant pods, so.
I did very much in this tournament last year, and it worked out, and it didn't work out. So, I don't know what to draw from it. I continue to go to pendant now.
Pod's just one of those things that, like, there's so many items inside, and, like, Pendant Swamp and Pendant Thieves are in the same boat for me, that there's just so much inside that it's really just hard to ignore. As we find an Ether Medallion here in Desert Palace. Okay, Blackburn gonna get his hook and bow from Hype Cave here. Along with that blue potion is his first bottle.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where Blackburn goes off of this one. just to clean up the things below. Oh, right, he went north after, right, he went north after.
Right.
This absolutely makes sense, because this stuff is very easy to leave behind.
And interestingly, just saw that bow on Bumper Cave Ledge and saved and quit. Didn't continue the route over to Catfish, which is interesting. It's definitely defensible. Catfish is a very slow check in best of circumstances, so if you can skip it, you definitely want to. And that's our second item, so now we just need to go chop up a bunch of worms.
Yeah, we'll see if that ether medallion proves to be necessary. Obviously, both players still have Agina outstanding here, which BDI will likely clean up after beating Lanmo. Yeah, but then the decisions start to get interesting again, and I think Pod starts becoming a bigger specter in this seed.
Yeah, and like if you find something in the front, you can always just leave and come back later, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously a little bit awkward right now. You'd love to be able to cobble it in directly with Eastern, with the mirror, but it's not the worst thing in the world to go back, finish off Eastern, and if you still haven't found any key progression, to head to Pod if you so choose. Because right now there isn't that much that can be done on the mountain. Just 2 checks and logic, I believe.
Okay, Bedwab opting for an early Agina check and exploding a bomb in Agina's face. So rude.
After Agina gave him bat hype and everything, I can't believe it.
Oh, freezing out the worms this time, alright. Oh. So I think an Ice Rod shot got overridden by a Tempered Sword poke, which is just unfortunate. Alright, so... Man, when do you chase Batman then? Because I'm not sure... I'm not sure either one is going to want to go back to VOO without at least the mitts.
Now that's a really awkward check right now. Yeah, I can't really see that unless things get, again, really down to it. My guess right now would be BDI closes out Eastern and then assesses from there, but there's only, again, 1 item left in Eastern. You have that density in Pod. It looks really attractive.
I like where your head was at there, Blackburn, but unfortunately that wall is not completely on the grid.
So BDI is heading back into Eastern. 1 item left on Armos Knights.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to imagine that Blackburn's going to be doing anything differently. Clearable crystals are at the top of the priority list for a good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And both players have really prioritized clearing their crystal dungeons early in this seed. Again, if there is something of significance on Armos, that can make some decisions, but It's also really hard to see both players go into Eastern, assuming that Blackburn does indeed follow suit, and then opting to save and quit and go chase some of these other stray checks that are still sitting out here.
Yeah, so technically we do have 2 mountain checks in Logic. They're really slow, and I really don't like doing them when I don't have like a mirror or a hook shot to go at least somewhere else on the mountain, but those 2 are technically in Logic and could have progression.
Yeah, I'm very much of the same mind.
Very nice harmless quick kill, which gives the hook shot. There we go. That was our major item that we were looking for.
Yeah, definitely for me that would change the equation in a huge way. And we get an immediate save and quit from BDI, and you gotta imagine that he's heading straight up the mountain here. Blackburn did finish off Lanmo's. A nice mix of ice rod shots and tempered sword spins, and is following BDI's footsteps to the eastern area. Yeah, gonna make that lumberjack ledge check that he didn't make early.
Trying to get some money too. I'm not sure. Maybe he wants to buy some potions.
I don't know that he actually knew about the crab. Because he eschewed this whole area because of that early death, I think. So I'm not sure that he actually. I think that was the first time that he pulled a bush crab.
Certainly not typical, but definitely a way to catch up after losing a minute or 2 recovering from that death.
Yeah, and it definitely, again, makes sense. We do frequently see, as you noted early, a high percentage of Aga seeds in Kaz boots. Turns out that this wasn't one. And BDI did make up a good amount of time with a few choices there. Gave a little bit back there, but in terms of peace of mind, when else are you going to be in this area to check that, just in case there is something of significance? Otherwise, you're going to be last locating that as hard as you can.
And nothing in the 2 long checks, so we're gonna go to the dense check now. Man, wouldn't that just be a kick in the head if it gives you the hook shot and then there's nothing behind it? It's nothing but cash and hearts so far. Alright, well,
very
got a
little
clearable
here.
crystal.
Yeah.
And a tablet.
And Blackburn did a good job on his side, closing out that Armos fight, and as expected is going to follow BDI up the mountain as well. Gonna get his exciting pile of couple bombs and hearts from Paradox Cave.
There was actually a significant number of heart containers on the way there, because BDI at 13 versus Blackburn over there at 9. Samaria. Interesting. Interesting, but not really immediately useful.
Yeah, the players at this point are sitting about, what, 4, maybe 5 items from go mode? Still need a fire rod for Skullwoods, flute, and knits for the Mire area in particular. Mirror for Swamp, and potentially Quake, I guess.
Welcome in, Raiders. We have a Mentor Tournament casual boots race. This is BDI versus Bedwablackburn. Being tutored by Orange, Kupo, and Lumaga, respectively. Seen a lot of the same plays by both racers so far. They're following their logic, following their items. Question in chat: why not do pod before the mountain? That's certainly a play that you could make. But since they got the hook shot and that opened up so many things on the mountain, that they're chasing density, and they're also chasing the last item they got, which is definitely something that every single mentor has taught me how to play the game.
I mean, thus far it's yielded pretty solid dividends for both players. They're making very good time. Again, each has had a couple bobbles here or there and recovered really well. And Pod, again, without the mirror, you know, Pod does kind of lock you in there. That hookshot did open up a lot of checks here on the mountain. Samaria being the most significant find thus far.
Okay, so we're getting a spiral cave check here. Unfortunately, the way that they had to route, you kind of have to isolate either spiral cave or spike cave. And spike cave, I don't believe is in logic at the moment, but with 14 hearts, you can pretty easily get what's inside. Alright, so running back to Portal 5, I think this is finally the pod play.
Yeah, definitely pretty much needs to be, I think, here if you're going to be chasing anything that resembles density. Yeah, again, awesome to find Samaria. You're going to need it, but it doesn't actually help the players at this moment in terms of opening anything. Aside from this, I believe that BDI only has Pyramid Ledge, Catfish, and the Bat remaining as other checks in logic, so plus the Spike Cave that you mentioned.
Yeah, so density-wise, it looks like pod is definitely the place you want to be. I do know people who would go ahead and clear that overworld before even walking in pod, though. Problem is, it doesn't link up very nicely unless you do like bat into catfish and then pyramid ledge.
Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, again, the upside of the peace of mind and fully clearing that overworld has its positives, but that's a very slow route. Players had no issues finding bow in this seed, so even though pod is bow locked, that's not a problem. And the odds are that there is going to be something of significance in here. Not guaranteed, but playing the odds. And Moldorm is not playing very nice with Blackburn, but he did a good job of finishing him off after he got into a rage state.
Yeah, if Moldorm is not in rage state, you definitely want to use your hook shot to get the iframes to phase through him, because the timing on that is exactly such that when the hook shot returns and you do the spin, it will always hit the tail.
That's actually something I didn't know, so that's pretty cool.
See BDI get the cane out, and he wanted to do, I think he wanted to do the auto stair extension, but realized that there was still a chest to get there.
Good game knowledge there, noticing that those last two chests had to be small keys in the front, given what he'd picked up in the first two.
Alright, and there's the mitts, and a lot more green squares on our trackers.
That obviously feels a little bit less than ideal, especially after you've come right off of the mountain, but again, the plays by both players have been completely justifiable. You'd have just loved to have been able to knock out almost everything on the mountain all at once.
Yeah, but I still don't think that going dependent pod before doing the mountain is the right play.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I wonder if we're gonna get a Helmasaur kill from BDI's side. I mean, some part of me says, you're already here, just go do it. The other side says, it's a pendant, skip it. Takes a minute and a half to get down there. You will indeed skip.
Yeah, the interesting thing about those mids is I don't believe that they actually open anything for any of the crystal dungeons that are still at large.
Well, it does make Ice Palace accessible.
Yeah, ice is the green pendant.
I see that.
So, and I would agree, I would be going. I would probably be going to ice too.
I would probably go back up the mountain, despite how slow it is. Because it is, like, 6 items compared to 3.
That is a good
or 4. Plus, the checks in Ice Palace are not exactly grouped together. Whereas the checks on the mountain are.
I think one thing that would be nagging at me a little bit was just how useless the flippers were in the light world. not like that's necessarily guaranteed. They could just be necessary to beat Swamp at some point once you get the mirror.
Right, but the thought is, you know, the game gave you flippers that early. There's probably a reason for it, because the flippers can be in a bunch of places. Very nice ice kicker there. As we're getting... Ooh, Pyramid Ledge has Burna. See, now that makes me want to do Mountain even more now. So you can just wipe everything out. Don't get me wrong, Mountain is a pretty large time investment, but so is Ice Palace, and you're probably just obligated to full clear because it is green pendant specifically.
Yeah.
Question in chat about leaving Burna there. Yeah, I probably would have grabbed it. Just in case, like... Maybe. Because we can probably enter Turtle Rock Fire Rumpus at this point.
You would think most likely
So-
the case.
So in that instance, you would want to end your route at Turtle Rock, which means you would want to do Spike Cave and run out, which you would need Burna for. I think. Okay, just going into pop now. Yes, it puts Spike Cave into logic, but runners have enough hearts that they can just walk Spike Cave and still be fine, as long as they're saving and quitting out of the back of it. So, completely fine to not pick that up, but I probably would have.
Yeah, I would have been inclined to do so as well. BDI got half magic here in ice, and I didn't see anything else of consequence. I don't know if he picked up the third item or not. I did see him get two.
Everybody's favorite fight. The Puff Party. Alright, there we go. Alright, well. Still have a green pendant turn in, so it's not completely non-required yet. Also, I don't believe we had either runner check the pedestal yet, so...
No, I don't believe we've seen that.
Which is not something that I do personally. I like the logic to tell me to go pull the pedestal, but a lot of people, especially with... I guess the book was in Hype Cave, so it wasn't that early, but see a lot of people just go out of the way to check the pedestal when they have the book. Alright, BDI, climb the mountain here. Not opting to do Spike Cave first. Oh, doesn't know about Myrna.
Also might want, oh yeah, there's the notion of coming back out.
Blackburn gonna get the mitts. It's always interesting to me to see, like, when you find progression independent dungeon, do you just immediately quit out, or do you clear the rest of the dungeon?
Yeah, that's a tough balancing act. I think especially with, again, where the players find the mitts here, they go through the maze, they don't really come out with anything, no mirror. I think it's a lot more easier to justify bolting at that point, rather than going all the way back out and killing Helmasaur. With mirror, I think it's a lot easier to justify it. But again, like, mitts opened a lot of stuff and a lot of things that are difficult choices. You know, we saw BDI opt for ice over heading up the mountain. As you noted, the mountain is a very good play in itself as well.
Where do I want the fire rod? I want it to be intro rock. Probably, I don't know, chain chomp chest. I don't want it to be too far in there. And we have reached the hour mark here, which is about the time that I like to say to give our runners a follow. We have some nice mentors here that you can give a follow to as well. Go ahead and follow my co-commentator, AryaStark. Stream is very chill and fun to watch. I pop in there from time to time and ask inane questions. It's a good time.
Please don't sell yourself short, Sean. Please give Sean a follow as well. Again, our tracker Malkier, Restreamer Moo Cow, who are both, I believe, participating in this tournament as well.
So buried in that, we found a mirror in Hookshot Cave and our diving pendant turtle rock.
Yeah, TR open with Bombos. I definitely like this. If you're committing to come up to the mountain, at least give a look and see how long it lets you go before spitting you out.
Yeah, my perspective is this is the last time I want to climb the mountain until GT, so might as well. Lumaga, I know Lumaga was a mentor last year and was on the list this year from week 1. And yes, he is the head admin and does a fantastic job of it. And there's our fire rod on chain chomps. Okay, yeah, I'm out of here at that point. I'm not chasing anything else. I'm clearing dungeons now.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's likely a flute hunt at this point.
Yeah.
Could be Quake. We've all had it happen to us, but yeah, you've got multiple clearable crystal dungeons right now.
And for those who don't know, that green 20 rupees that Bedwablackburn just found means that's where the game tried to put the boots until they put him back on Link's feet.
I still prefer the latter's fake boots though.
I've done the rest of TR for flute. No. No, I do exactly what BDI did. You found the mirror, you found the fire rod. Just go clear all the dungeons that you can. if you have to come back, you have to come back. It's likely that your opponent is doing the same thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
I think full clearing a pendant TR is a little too risky for me at this point.
But unfortunately, on Blackburn's side, he opted to exit the mountain after that mirroring. So he's heading into Swamp now. But it could be a while before he comes up with Fire Rod, especially if Flute is readily available.
Yeah, I saw in chat that would have left the mountain after Mirror as well, and I agree. Like, it's unlikely that you're gonna find 2 pieces of progression on the mountain at that point. Completely defensible thing. It's just not sure when. I'm not sure when Blackburn goes back up the mountain / into TR, and he's gonna be full clearing dungeons while BDI is just probably one from go here.
Yeah, and again, it's definitely a tough call, because that TR dive could very well just yield nothing. You go in there for, you know, that first chest, it's the big key, it's the compass, it's a nothing item, or it's a small key that eventually leads to nothing, and you burn some time, and you know that mirror is opening up things right away. But yeah, my thought was similar to what you noted about, if you can help it, that would be your final mountain climb until you head to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and that's why I like the Fire Rodless TR dip most times, is because the dungeon could just kick you out right away, and then yeah, like whatever you spent what 3 rooms worth of time, so like a minute 10 to do a check that, you know, could have been something, but you're never coming back, so might as well just get that peace of mind and chase that mirror. Right, we'll get a pedestal check here. Just Caps Cash. Pedestal is pedestal.
At that point, though, I think that's definitely a very justifiable check. Flute is an item that could conceivably be on pedestal. Obviously unlikely, but the last thing you want to do, again, is be go-moding or pseudo-go-moding, or trying to at least skip things.
Yeah, and if you are going to check that pedestal, that's the best chance to do it right there. As we see a cape in Swamp Palace, so that makes the silvers available, and there's a bit of debate whether I've seen these situations before, and people have debated whether the silvers are worth getting at that point. I think they probably. I think they're probably a little far out of Blackburn's way right now.
Yeah, especially when Blackburn is apt to go back to that area too. Because that would be spurred on by getting the Fire Rod, and as we know, that could be a very problematic spot.
Alright, BDI heading to Swamp Palace, as Blackburn is probably actually going back in. I wasn't counting items, but I believe Blackburn did skip left side swamp.
Yeah, it was left side skip and at least one left behind.
And we have we had a big key in the back as well.
Obviously for BDI, this would be the ideal spot to find Flute. He does have a lot of options after this dungeon if this winds up being nothing. A lot of those mirror checks, Pyramid Fairy as well.
Honestly, probably do Pyramid Fairy first, because that fire rod's in a bad spot. You found it, your opponent probably doesn't. Like, if your opponent leaves the mountain just from finding the mirror, then like you have the fire rod advantage, so you might as well just push it. And you're kind of in the area, but it's not that far out of the way to just go up and grab the big bomb. And I can't remember. I don't think BDI has checked Catfish yet.
No, he didn't, because that's where the fourth sword is.
Okay, so you can pair it with that as well. Just take a trip up there.
Yeah, you've got Catfish, Graveyard Ledge too, as a potential thing to loop in. Pretty empty Swamp Palace here.
It's a good question from Chad. Arya, how do you feel about doing left side a potential 1 from go, so we'll call it 1.5 from go, rather than you're 1 from go?
In this situation, again, the clear pros and cons. I tend to be more willing to skip 1 from go, and I would probably be heading that route you mentioned of go Pyramid Fairy, loop in Catfish, Graveyard Ledge, and then potentially the other mirror checks and or Smith Chain before left side Swamp, but I can see it other way. Do you have any specific preferences that you like in this situation?
I like what Shimmeru is saying in chat. Like, at this point, you just need to assume that the game has given you the medallion that you need, and that the other one just hanging out in GT. So yeah, just go straight to the boss. Assume that you're just 1 from go. I think I would still go back in, especially since the big key was so deep in the back.
The big key, big chest in particular, I absolutely would be going back in for. At that point, I guess you have to make that decision because there is an item in the big chest and only one on left side. Again, not an easy call, and you play enough, you get burned by things either way, but BDI is, at the very least, going to check Bombo's tablet.
Yeah, I don't think Blackburn did that, unfortunately. And that was a really good time to do it.
Oh, exciting, a shovel.
Yeah, so the silvers are on Bumper Ledge, which it'll basically be time neutral. The time that the silvers will save you is going to be about the same as to go and get them.
Yeah, I think in in either of these players' shoes right now, I would be skipping them.
I would skip them because I'm super confident in Silverless Ganon, but I don't know the runner's comfort level with Silverless Ganon.
Yeah, again, like Master Sword Silverless, yeah, there's zero doubt, especially at this point last year, I am 100% going to get those silver arrows. Zero shame, no matter what your call is there. Tempered Sword, Half Magic on BDI side, Gold Sword on Blackburn side. Both avenues that make the first bunch of phases in Ganon much more comfortable, even in a silverless fight. But in a stunning upset, the shovel has not come through.
Oh yeah, see, you need to get the silvers to fluff your CR.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm not very good at that. Shin's been trying to get me to increase the clear rate for a while. I'm just not very good.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Save the bomb.
Oh, at least the timer got reset. Yeah. BDI remembering that Pyramid Ledge was not checked yet. And Pyramid Fairy just with a bit of cash and a B.
Yeah, so the vast majority of these checks are just, they're not coming through with what the players are hoping for here. Obviously, Blackburn looking for a bit more too. Going into left side makes even more sense for him, looking for that fire rod. BDI he does have the green pendant turn in that we haven't seen from that Clear of Ice Palace, and it looks like Blackburn is heading there himself.
I am shocked that that was not a mirror bunk there. All right, we've got the bug catching net. I think Gamachu would say that means we're in go mode, but unfortunately we still need a duck.
What does BDI still have left up here? Graveyard Ledge?
Yes. That and Spike Cave might just be it.
And he still has Catfish, which we know is only a sword.
Right.
Only a sword, we say.
Yeah, Gold Sword is whatever. Like it's usually not better in most circumstances. It's usually about the same as Tempered, but it does secure the 1-in-1 on Ganon, which is pretty nice. I use Tempered strats with Gold Sword anyway, but that's because I'm weird. Okay, looks like he is opting to go and get these silvers. Looks like Blackburn in a little trouble with that icebreaker. Looks like might be getting some live mentoring here. That's what I love about these mentor races, when you see someone that's getting instruction in the middle of the thing and then they pull it off. I always love to see that.
Yeah, when you're the one playing in the heat of the moment, it can be stressful, but it's always good when you see these mentors know that, hey, this is a good opportunity to teach and help within the seed. And yeah, I like you, I really like watching the players succeed, and good job there by Blackburn. Graveyard Ledge, also not the answer. And the options are once again starting to narrow even further.
Maybe that flute is just chilling in the back of TR.
It could be. I mean, there's TR, there's Mimic Cave, there's Spike Cave, and potentially one thing on Helmasaur I don't fully recall.
Yeah, I don't recall the item count for that either. He did check Green Pendant. It was nothing. It's a really high spot to do that bomb jump from. Ended up working out because that's Blackburn's third item, so it's just gonna go to the boss now. Or maybe not.
The third item in ice is on the boss.
Aha.
I believe it's all of 5 rupees.
Yeah,
So
for that bomb jump, I usually just line up in the middle of the pit and jump across. But I see people go in the top corner. I don't think you can be anywhere on the left side. I think you actually have to be like. I want to say top half, but I think it's a little more lenient than that. I think it's maybe like top 3/5.
Yeah, I set up the shadow over the top left corner. And there's a little bit of leniency, a couple pixels here or there, but it generally works out pretty consistently.
BDI doing Smith Chain, I believe we saw this on Blackburn's side.
Yeah, there's not really much of consequence here. It did provide a shovel, which is just one more check of nothing, but yeah.
At this point, like, TR's just our density.
Yeah, and if I was playing in this situation, the back of TR really wouldn't feel that bad, because leaving after Mirror or leaving after Fire Rod in TR as BDI did, I think are both really justifiable. Spike Cave is the one I think that would probably stick with me a little bit if that's where it wound up.
Well, see, when BDI was there the first time, it had 14 hearts, so could have just like saved and quit back to the mountain, just ran up there to clear it but they didn't know it was in logic at that time, so.
I'm actually not 100% sure about this. Is the logic contingent on an invincibility item, or does a bottle factor into it?
I think bottle factors in, like bottle or half magic would factor in if you're using the cape, since that uses magic a little more quickly. I believe with Burna you don't need a magic refill.
Bottle with a cape, according to Brighton. Okay, thank you.
I believe it is hard locked by an invincibility item now. In previous versions, it was like you could have a certain amount of health or like a number of bottles, and it would open up Spike Cave. I don't believe that's the case anymore.
Okay. So we have a little bit of backtracking going on, well, maybe not on Blackburn's side, maybe it's just setting up to do these other checks. BDI is backtracking into Swamp for left side and the big chest. Blackburn has definitely not done Graveyard Ledge, I think.
No. Just got the mirror and hasn't really had a great chance to do it, so... I think after Graveyard Ledge, though, all of Blackburn's available checks are going to be on the mountain.
Yeah, like I think the one potential outlier is if there actually is an item on Helmasaur, which you're not 100% sure about, right?
Yeah, I'm not 100% on that. Fire Rod was on the Chain Chomp chest, which I did call before BDI went into Turtle Rock, and I swear I only practiced White Witchcraft, not Dark Witchcraft. Commenter's Curse. Yes, but it's right-hand path craft. It's fine. And now I'm trying to put myself in Blackbird's shoes. Like, if I go into TR and I find the Fire Rod, do you just leave?
Yeah, that's tough, because yeah, I was thinking if that Fire Rod looked like it could potentially be like even a game sealer for BDI. They've come together pretty close since then. Almost every check in the overworld here has been exhausted.
Yeah,
but that
I'm
option for Blackburn is still sitting there, though.
Yeah, I am landing on, you have to clear TR at this point, because Fire Rod really only opens one check that's not in Turtle Rock, so...
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see Helmasaur here, though. Blackburn has also not read Pedestal, since he had no occasion to go to the back of Skullwoods.
Right.
So he doesn't know that it is nothing, but to go this long with no Fire Rod, no Flute.
Yeah, well, if you're looking at clearing, like, if you're looking at clearing Turtle Rock, you might as well just get Helma out of the way, and then you can go pull Pedestal afterwards. If all you find is a Fire Rod there, but we up here know that there has to be the Flute there. Well, not necessarily. It could just be right here.
Could be here, could be in Spike Cave, I guess. And obviously, it's certainly justifiable too to want to avoid a pendant turtle rock if you can help it. Players are forced into it in this seed in particular, but the way things are broken down, routing things into anything, got very much less than clean, shall we say, here at the back end of this seed. So none of these options surely feel good to the players at this moment.
Right. So if Blackburn does big brain this flute off of Helma, then we've got a race, because that means Blackburn only has to check 3 chests in Turtle Rock, or 2 chests, and BDI will have full cleared it for nothing. Oh, I like that bunny sprite on BDI's side.
I only caught a glimpse of it. Looked like a mouse of some sort.
No, it's a so Generation 1 was on the original Game Boy. They only had certain space, so they had to make some sprites on your menu be the same, and that is the sprite that represents like the more animal-like Pokemon rather than the human-like. Alright, well, Helma was not the answer, so somewhere on the mount.
Yeah, as you know, Timmy, the big question right now is, will Blackburn stick with TR after finding Fire Rod?
Finding Flute on Helma might be a distraction. It's not a bad distraction, though, because you have to go and do that dungeon anyway. And Mire is a big key required dungeon, so having to full clear it doesn't feel as bad as in a full key not required dungeon, because you have to go and find the big key anyway. Now, if it ends up being a Godmire and you have to full clear looking for items, then yeah, get some Monkas, but... And there it is. Crystal Roller Room is our answer today. And BDI has finally entered Schrodinger's Go.
Surely Meyer would not be Quake. The game would not do this to the players, no way.
No, the game has never been mean in its whole existence. If Quake for Meyer is on Trinex, I think BDI might just have to cry and go back into Turtle Rock. I do like the aggressive plays that BDI has been making, but they just haven't worked out at all.
Blackburn is thinking and mirroring.
Yeah, going to the... Oh, nope, just straight up leaving. Okay.
That's tough, especially with Ether for Meyer here. BDI in actual go mode.
No bird toss. Touch. Bird toss is more of an NMG thing anyway. Mirror followed by a death warp to save the portal. So that's usually only done post laser bridge, and if you're going all the way to the laser bridge, you might as well just kill Trinex because you have the ability to.
And for Blackburn in this situation, did that fire rod open anything aside from just the back of Skullwoods?
It opened the rest of TR, which, per the discussion earlier, I think they should have just stuck into TR because it's density,
Yeah,
and if your opponent did pull that fire rod early, then like you're basically just straggling behind at this point.
yeah, that's definitely.
It does open Pyramid Fairy as well.
That is true. That is true. That's secondary.
So that makes it a little closer, actually. Leaving versus not leaving. I mean, I certainly don't blame Blackburn for leaving, because you really don't want to complete Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock is a long dungeon.
Yeah. And it seemed as though he'd been pretty steadfast in trying to avoid having to go there. Blackburn does get crystal number 6 on his side. Surely going to be... I guess he must have one item left behind. But yeah, the Pyramid area is the next destination, but we know that unfortunately does not have what he's looking for here.
Suppose the fire rod also gives you a pedestal check, which actually at that point pedestal is not a thing to me at this point, because if you were playing the pedestal you would have cleared TR.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, there still was a second item in Skullwoods. Okay. So yeah, now we're at 4 items versus 4 items. Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes you lose a coin flip.
And the players were provided with, several tough calls to make in this seed, and that just happens sometimes, as you know, that you make a call, educated decision, and it doesn't always necessarily work out, especially when it is a relative toss-up.
It's dead rocks getting in the way there. Trying to prevent us from playing the GT Big Key guessing game. Get your guesses in chat. Number between 1 and 22. Which check is the Big Key going to be on? Oh, we got a 1. Okay. I like it.
We have the Alpha and the Omega with the 22. We've already gone into Turtle Rock twice. Do we really need to be going to Tile Room?
Well, I did learn from one of my mentors last year that if the cape is in a crystal dungeon, then that means the GT Big Key is in Tile Room. For legal purposes, that is a joke.
Just immediately start rushing Tile Room. Get Spike Cave on Blackburn's side. As BDI enters GT.
Ooh, 2 keys. It's been a while since I've seen 2 smalls in Hope Room. Juggling that block a little bit. Yeah, this is where the Butter Sword really shines, because 2 slashes kills a mummy.
Yeah, out of principle, those Gyptos would all be dead. They had the audacity to get in the way of the Samaria taunts. They gotta go.
Okay, so we're to 6 and no Big Key so far. Alright, it's number 7. Also our 3rd small key. I like to overthink key logic in non-key sanity scenes. And that's the 4th one. Okay, well, everything's in logic.
We can do the climb once we get the Big Key.
So this is going to be number 12. Okay, I was kind of hoping it's there. So that would justify my tracking of small keys. Tower room is still possible. If so, then our 22 guests in chat is going to be elated. So we get to our special room made just for Rando. It wasn't made just for Rando. It exists in the vanilla game. There's just nothing over here. Oh boy. Alright, to the basement we go. Flute was in Crystal Roller Room in Turtle Rock, which Blackburn is last locating right now. This is a hard last location. Oh, and there we go. We found it. Number 18. I don't see an 18 in here. All right. Well, we'll roll that into the prize pool, which the prize pool gets ever bigger. Now, whoever gets this correctly the next time will win 3 lifetimes of Link to the Past randomizer seats.
Imagine. I am always interested to see how different players handle the gauntlet. Certain players really lean on bow and arrow versus magic versus sword, and the relative balancing act as players get more accustomed to doing things is always interesting to me.
Yeah, so Fire Rod is not a bad idea in when you have half magic. Obviously, coming in with half a bar, BDI does have to be a little careful with magic usage, but should have more than enough here. And also with silvers, can take out land mode with silvers instead of using the Fire Rod.
Yeah, being conscious of, again, what you have in your inventory is especially important when you're just getting started, because it is very easy to use and overuse that Fire Rod in the gauntlet. You can wipe out enemies in one shot. But again, no half magic, you can run out of magic exceptionally quickly. But knowing that you do have those silvers in the back pocket for that land mode 2 fight is always great to be cognizant of.
Yeah, and a smart pickup of that magic under the pot. Probably not going to need it, but just knowing that that's there, and you know, just gives you some extra leeway. Oh, and does have a blue potion in the pocket that I just saw in the start menu there. So, all right, didn't really need to worry about magic, as it turns out. If you want to learn the Lambo 2 fight with silvers, I suggest watching a runner do the 100% NMG speedrun.
Yeah, the question in chat about whether BDI feels behind. I think a seed like this, at least from my perspective, not necessarily behind, but definitely it's just one of those ones that doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
In that,
I mean, it still was a West location, so...
Yeah, you went up, you beat one pendant dungeon for effectively nothing. Half magic is great, but ice didn't yield anything of progression. Backtracked on some things, had to make 2 trips to pendant Turtle Rock. So doesn't feel great. Now again, like as you've noted, like there's a lot of things in this seed too that, especially as you get more experience, you're figuring that most of the time your opponent is also falling into the same kind of unfortunate situations. But you're in a pressure environment like this, and you come up with a couple key items in less than ideal situations. It's very easy to let that get into your mind a little bit.
Yeah, like on my second trip back to Turtle Rock, the doubt is definitely creeping in, and then when that like 130, 140 time comes up, I'm probably thinking about looking at the race room. I usually don't. I usually just have it minimized, but like the doubt creeps in that, you know, maybe I just messed up somewhere and my opponent didn't.
I did like what BDI did there. With a couple more hits from the fire bats than expected, and just played it safe. Use the potion. You're not going to be in any issue with magic the rest of the way in this fight. Make sure you don't die. Set yourself up with those silver arrows.
It was a nice torch glitch by BDI there. I don't necessarily like having torch glitch in this fight, but some people do. And here we go. Our sword is up. Get your GGs in chat for BDI, who is going to cross the finish line first. That's 150.55. So a 150 on basically a full clear seed. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's also important to remember that, you know, this seed started out about as rough as it could for BDI, because he took that unfortunate death
Right?
by Zelda's cell and recovered and stuck it out, and it was really impressive the rest of the way.
All right, we'll see if we can get some interviews here while Blackburn finishes out this seed. I strongly encourage all runners, even if like you see the dot done in the race room, to just finish out your seed. Like it's not going to take that much longer, and like you can always use practice in the later portions of the game, especially Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm someone who doesn't like to look at the race room, period, unless it's like a situation where I'm feeling sick and just can't physically play anymore. But especially last year in this tournament, had some matches that went well, had some that didn't. But you also don't always get that opportunity to have a mentor by your side, going over these various situations and scenarios. And sometimes you'll glean a little bit of information, even if it's at the end of a seed that didn't go your way.
We'll see. Oh, we're doing some lawnmower strats. All right. Love to see it.
Yeah, I
And
definitely
Black,
remember when I was starting off, Vitreous was a very intimidating fight, no matter what you had, and learning a lot. There's so many different ways to handle that fight, depending on your gear. That's another one that's really great to learn from over the course of this tournament.
so believe it or not, Vitreous is a scripted fight, just like Blind. It's
Just need to
just
poke it 9 times with a sword, right?
as long as you do the same movements all the time, then you won't ever be in danger in that fight.
Interesting.
Like I learned it for NMG, and then that's just like second nature now, basically. And we are joined by the winner of today's race, BDI, along with Mentor Orange, GG.
GG's.
GG, hello.
GG.
That was a flute.
That was a location.
Definitely was.
So didn't start probably the way you wanted it to.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about the ball and chain death. Yeah, I with standard in the previous weeks, I've sort of ignored doing any sword escape practice. So I guess I was a bit rusty with the ball and chain fight.
And then something unexpected happened this scene in that we pull a Master Sword basically immediately.
Right, I was surprised that you weren't doing spins on ball and chain guard.
Well, I was telling him about it.
Okay.
I was just ignoring the advice.
Yeah, but even in spite of that death, you were able to actually catch up to Blackburn pretty quickly. You made a few skips and checks that he didn't, and a big turning point, at least not really early, but you opted to head into Turtle Rock after pulling that mirror in Hookshot Cave, whereas Blackburn left after mirror. Was there any discussion about whether to dive TR there?
I think the plan was to go in and do the front, like 4 checks, even if we got something, and then see what we get there if we can complete it. And that fire rod was a very nice thing to just dip after getting.
It typically, and Turtle Rock is dipped just to see how far we can get before we get kicked out. And we technically could have full cleared the dungeon after pulling Fire Rod, but getting both Mirror and Fire Rod opened Pyramid Fairy for us.
And Swamp as well, because I hadn't done those at that point.
Yeah, so we would just go Skull Woods, then Swamp into Pyramid Fairy.
Was it ever a discussion on the first trip to go further than the fire rod, or was it just like, okay, we're leaving now?
I think I started to go back to at least do the fire locked ones at the front, but then it was decided to just skip it and save and quit immediately.
Yeah, because we were go -1, and I figured it was probably going to be in Swamp, and this is typically what runners past the Mentor Tournament would do.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. We were discussing those different possibilities as they were playing out in live time. Again, you had a decent amount of stuff, especially with the fully clearable swamp and the mirror checks available in addition to the Pyramid Fairy. Tough thing for Blackburn, in addition to skipping diving the front of TR, is that when he went back up there finally, because he cleared basically the entire overworld, including killing Helma, is that he did dip after the fire rod. So he went and cleared the last handful of things that you had already done, and then had to go back up.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I think Homer was our last locate item. Or that
if it
or
was
Spike Cave.
if it was an internal rock, then all we had left in the whole game was Spike Cave and Helmets Arcane. This was just a seed where you really don't get to skip things. Like, if you fail out of a certain dungeon too early, you're going to get punished. So, the typical plays that someone would make are not going to work here.
Yeah, this was just a couple of items in some grody locations, and if you miss out on them, then, well, then you miss them. So, BDI did, speaking of Mentor Tournament, you're gonna go into week 6 here soon. Think you have a grasp on how to route by yourself yet?
Sort of. I feel like when I do seeds by myself, I'm a bit of a full clearer. So that probably would have helped in this seed, but it definitely loses me some races. I need to work on doing some solo seeds, get better at that.
Question from the chat: is this the first time you two have paired up for the Mentor Tournament?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like using this as an opportunity to learn. So I've had a different mentor every week, which has been very helpful, learning all the different aspects and how everyone individually routes their own game.
Yeah, that's also the approach I took. I think it's beneficial to at least get some different perspectives so that you can craft your own way to play the game, because everybody plays differently, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Is this your first time taking a more aggressive play style?
I sort of just mentor tells me to go somewhere, I go somewhere, and then ask and learn why that is the play as I go. So I think some of my previous games I've also done some skips that solo I would definitely go check. Things like catfish, if I'm going to pod, I'll do it usually because I might as well, but skip seems good.
Yeah, that's kind of the mindset of some hunters here, in that this check is really slow. I'm not going to do that. Going to catfish just takes a while.
Definitely does.
Graveyard Ledge is really out of the way.
Yeah, but I know, from being in this tournament myself last year, it was really great to be able to ask different people and get the perspectives. And even if you don't necessarily adopt it for your own personal playing style, to get the rationales behind different moves and skips or aggressive plays. So yeah, it's definitely awesome to hear you say, BDI, that you take in everything that your mentor tells you, and process that information. I think that's really valuable.
Another chat question. You did a bit of an unconventional Houlihan room. Did you know that going in here, or was that a little bit of live mentoring?
It was live mentoring. I knew that Houlihan existed, and I had no idea how to do it, so it was on the fly being taught as I was doing it.
It's something I keep in my back pocket for boot start seeds.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you
Yeah.
never know when you're gonna get those early flippers and then get locked out of the bully hand room.
Did come sort of useful. I saw it didn't have anything, but if it did, it would have been a game changer for the early game.
Well, sometimes just getting that check off your screen, off your tracker, is worth it.
Yeah,
just means-
it just would have been dead without doing that.
Yeah, it just means we weren't gonna go back.
I think the one like routing decision that we were discussing a lot when it happened was after you got those mitts in pod, opting to go to ice ahead of say go back to the mountain or other checks. Was there discussion about that?
Yeah, I think we were chasing because we got the flippers really early and we got bomb base really early, so that just opened up ice as soon as we got the nets. So it was just chasing the early items into Ice Palace.
Yeah, that I felt that was a gamble that was absolutely worth doing because of how early Ice Palace access was, logically. But the cane did make it a little more enticing. Even if it's not necessary, it just speeds things up. But given that the first Ice Palace small key was in that Pangaea room, the compass chest, going in there without the cane would not have been horrible.
And we get to see Bedwablackburn here, Butter the Pig. Another little point of divergence that I know I brought it up a couple times. You guys opted to go and get the silver arrows. Blackburn did not. And I was kind of debating that back and forth. But can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, it makes Vitreous free, which was the last boss. It also makes Ganon phase 4 a lot quicker, so... And it also is just general enemy killing as well.
Morale. That,
Yeah.
if I could just describe the reason for getting the silvers, morale.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that confidence that having the silvers gives you.
Like, I was just saying, like, we still have to do Vitreous, and yeah, it'll be nice for Ganon. I mean, like, we may as well.
Yeah, I
He
think
was a little later as well. Sorry.
I think time-wise, it ends up being pretty much neutral, but I just think the peace of mind makes it worth it.
And if GTBQ was a little bit later as well, it would have definitely saved Class on this. So in my mind, at least, it was worth getting.
If the GT bid was behind Ice Armos, then the silvers actually would have been worth it time-wise. But instead, you know, yeah, I agree. It's pretty much time neutral and just makes you feel better for having them.
Yeah, and that is a dead pig on Bedwablackburn's side. Get your GGs in chats, as he will cross the finish line momentarily. Hearing from our restreamer, time is 2:07:49. Looks like Blackburn did not start his timer at the beginning, so. Looks like we will have them in here momentarily. And we are now joined by Bedwablackburn and Mentor Lumaga. GG.
GG's.
GG.
That was the thing.
That happened.
That was something.
So that curveball of having the mirror, fire rod, and flute all in the same area, but kind of leading you away to other places was very interesting.
Yeah, so what was the discussion like when you found the mirror of leaving versus doing TR?
Well, it was more that swamp opened up immediately, and we just kind of pivoted right towards swamp. That was just kind of, we looked around, saw another crystal that we could do, and just went for it.
We did discuss, like, jokingly, hey, let's open up Turtle Rock now, because in half an hour we're gonna have to be back here.
We did.
Yeah, and of course we did. And then finding the mirror, right? It was like, okay, it's more likely that there's something in swamp, so let's go there.
Yeah.
And finding the fire rod, I said, don't even worry about the rest of this dungeon. Let's go kill Moth, right? And then we'll figure the rest out. Of course, we had to come back 3 times. So this is an awful end of the seed. The first like 50, 60 minutes were great.
Yeah. It was, yeah, we, as you were saying, when we were talking back and forth on the seed, yeah, it was like, oh, we're like 40, 50 minutes in, and we've got 4 crystals. This is great.
Yeah.
Knuckleball. It's knuckleball. And possible bean to batter, but you know, it is what it is. It happens
So,
on occasion.
I'm really curious, and we were talking about this near the end of the seed after BDI finished. Like, I'm wondering what the discussion was on Orange and BDI side of finding the mirror and finding the fire rod, because I wasn't sure that anyone, unless they either were very courageous or ignorant of the logic on, like, what they should do, would go deep into Turtle Rock for that flute. But I'm really curious about what Orange and BDI were talking about.
We made the same decision to nope out after Fire Rod.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Now we ended up clearing up more pendants. We did Helma and what was the other one? Cold Stare.
Yeah.
How far did you go in either of those dungeons?
We killed Cold Stare, and Helma was committed to being our literal last location.
Fair.
I think with the Turtle Rock play, we also went in immediately. It sounds like you save and quit after the mirror. We went in at least and got fire on the first trip.
Okay. Yeah.
Our trade of thought was, let's go in and see how quickly it takes for the dungeon to kick us out.
Yeah, that's what we considered, because we could get at least the one in the compass chest, and then from there on out, it's all about key layout. So it's something we considered, but once we found the mirror, we said no, we're gonna follow that mirror. But that had to be the definite turning point in this seed for both of us. I'm probably gonna spend the next hour and a half watching this one back.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch back.
Yeah, honestly, it was a really close and comparable race most of the way. That you're pretty much right. Those couple of decisions to dive a little bit deeper and do a couple of additional checks were really what was the margin of difference. Both players played exceptionally well. It was just a very awkward stuff, and Sean and I were talking about it throughout the race of, the very decisions that you were talking about. It's justifiable to leave after mirror. It's justifiable to dive TR and leave after fire rod. It just happened to be a really awkward spot, as Bedwablackburn noted, that all 3 of those items were up in a very awkward spot that you really don't want to have to go to a bunch of times. And that was really the difference, because most of the play was very comparable and impressive.
Thank you. Again, congratulations, BDI. I wish you luck with JMasha. I'm looking forward to that one as well, between me and J Masha, and then, you know, wherever we fall in the brackets, if we meet again, best wishes and good luck as well.
Yeah, good luck to you too. Hope would like to see a bracket rematch.
That would be a blast, honestly.
All right. Any final thoughts from runners or mentors?
Not that I can think of. Thank you, as always, for the coverage, for the restream, and for the commentary. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you to Mukau for putting this together, just kind of on a whim and getting some more people restreamed. I'm really glad to see people step up and.
I do apologize. Somehow, I think some of my files on my MSU got corrupted, so I had to go ahead and kind of yeet the folder real quick to keep from having buzzing. So if anybody had to deal with that, I apologize. But at least I had sound effects towards the end instead of just nothing. So was able to at least kind of nip that in the bud just enough to make it so it wasn't, blaring on everyone's ears.
All right. Well, Mukau, go ahead and play us out. All right. This has been the Go Mode podcast. Go ahead and give our runners and our mentors a follow. BDI 1701, Orange Kupo, Bedwablackburn, and Lumaga. Thank you, AryaStark, for joining me in the booth today. Thank you, Malkier, for clicking buttons and tracking stuff in the background. So, yeah. Thank you, Mukau, for restreaming as well.